right? So super short unit, we're not even going to test on it. It will be on your final, but it's not, like we're not going to do a quiz, we're not taking away a day to do a test or anything like that. With the rational stuff that we are doing, the most important thing you do is to factor first. Before you do anything, okay? Before anything happens with rational expressions, you're going to factor first. After you factor, then you're going to find the domain. Yeah?
Is this rational functions?
It is rational functions. It's a portion of, we haven't hit the functions part until we actually start solving, which is going to be Monday.
Okay, because I have in my class taking I have rational functions, so I was.
And you're probably graphing, which we're not going to have time to get to, unfortunately.
Okay.
But doing the rational expressions, I think probably would be good for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So factor first, find your domain next. So this will be a good review of how we actually find domain, which is part of your final this semester for me, and also will be all over the U of A test too. So those two things. The next thing is an expression. Just to clarify, an expression is not an equation. It does not have an equal sign. So it just means that you're simplifying, and that's it. So you're still going to end up with fractions. You're still going to end up with some really weird, gross answers. But you're not actually solving anything. You're just simplifying. So just wanted to clarify that. So let's go ahead and start with first example. And your directions would be like simplify. But what's the first thing you're going to do with that? Factor. So you're going to factor the top, you're going to factor the bottom if they're factorable. And then just do that. Okay, so just factor. So like I said, numbers are smaller, right? A little bit easier. So just factor top and bottom for right now. All right, do we have our factors yet? Yeah? Go ahead, Cami. Is the top factorable?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's it factor into? X plus 6, x minus 2. Is everybody in agreement with that? Okay, what about the bottom? 3 parentheses x minus 2. All right, cool. So that's the first step in this. So all I've done is factor. The next thing that I need to do is find my domain. So let's review that. How do I find domain of this thing? No, but good try, right? You're thinking back to finding things. That would, if I set all my x's to 0, that would find my y-intercept. Yeah.
X minus
Okay, but we're not there yet. I'm asking for domain. I need domain. How do I find domain of a rational function or domain of any equation? What are my two major rules about domain?
Oh, they can't have a negative.
Can't have a negative where?
And the
Come on, you guys, help her out.
at the bottom. I don't know.
Can't have a negative where?
No.
Why can't you have a negative in the top or bottom? That you do negative 1/2? Isn't that allowed? So where can't a negative exist in math? In the square root. Okay, so that's one of our main rules for domain. Do I have any square roots? Okay, so no square roots, so that one doesn't apply in this case. What's my other major rule about domain? Now I can subtract x. It's okay. I'm really glad you're trying though, Sam. I appreciate it so much. The other major rule about domain. Anybody? I know it's in your notes. I know we talked about it.
0 on the bottom of the fraction.
What else in mathematics is not allowed to happen? What? I can't divide by 0. Right? I'm not allowed to divide by 0. So when you are finding domain, that means that my denominator is not allowed to equal 0. What is the thing that's going to make this equal 0?
2. Does that mean equal to 0 and solve it?
I'm not equaling x, I'm equaling the factor to 0 and then solving. Right, so I do x minus 2. Right, so x equals 2, which is the thing it's not allowed to equal. So my domain, thank you Zoe, is x does not equal 2. Because I cannot divide by 0. If you're sitting there going, what? Please come talk to me. Okay, we did this in, I think, our very first unit when we talked about domain. Jessica, what's up?
So you said the denominator equals 0?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, Sari. The two pairs on top don't matter at all for domain. Great question. Okay. You could also, but I think your domain's going to come easier with the factor, right? Because even if I solve this, I'm still going to get to here. It just makes my numbers a little smaller.
So say if it doesn't have next. So say if it doesn't equal 0 or it doesn't have a square root in front of it, so it just be infinity, infinity.
Yes, exactly. But the whole point of a rational expression is it has a numerator and denominator. They're fractions, right? So it's always going to have a domain restriction. Yes. Oh, we're not done with this one yet. But yes. Okay, so now we've factored, we found our domain. Now we can actually simplify this thing. So Colton noticed earlier that what's going to happen, Colton?
X minus 2.
Yeah, I have an x minus 2 up top and an x minus 2 on the bottom. And those are going to cancel out. And so my final answer is going to be, my final simplified answer is x plus 6 over 3 with that as a domain. Sarah, what's up? Oh, that's okay. You're just stretching. Okay.
So you simplify it, and then once you simplify it, that's also your domain, right?
No, my domain just sticks.
Okay.
So here's the issue. If I didn't find the domain before I simplified, what would you think the domain was?
So what that.
Right? You would think it was all real numbers because there's no x in the bottom, so nothing's going to make it 0 in the denominator. I have no square root. So that's why we have to do the domain before we simplify. Because otherwise we get tricked. Okay?
And then after you simplify, what does that mean?
That's just our simplified answer.
Oh.
Yeah. It just means that now we're here. And that's it, that's as far as I can go. All right. So let's do one that combines things but will definitely help you. All right. Okay, so yes, I made it harder. Still the same idea. So what's the first thing you're gonna do? Yep, factor. First thing, every time.
I was nervous about it. Me? It is accurate.
Did everybody get a chance to vote too on the schedule?
I did a rose.
Okay, make sure you do at some point before the end of class, please. So for right now, just factor it. Don't simplify it, just do the factors. Like I said, just factor. Don't try and simplify yet, wait for me. just because I'm a little worried on time for today, and I want to at least get through these two, we're going to have to finish one more example tomorrow. But did anybody get the first top one factored? Go ahead, Kat. Sure. All right, let's see. So Sam's disagreeing with you on this. That's minus 4 plus 3. So that would give you a minus 1. So I think these should be switched, right? Okay. What about this guy over here? Anybody? The guy over here on the right? Michaela? This one? Great. Can you give that to me?
2x minus 2x minus 3.
Yep, that works. Did anybody get the denominator factored? Brian, thank you.
X parentheses x minus 2 and then x minus 1.
X minus 1?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. So we factored, and here's the thing. Before we can find domain, what does dividing a fraction mean that we're actually doing? Multiplying by the reciprocal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this one, 2x minus 3, x plus 2 the same. And then now I'm going to change it to multiplication, and then this is going to flippy flop. All right, so I'm going to have x minus 2, x minus 1 over 2x and 2x minus 3. At this point, now I can list my domain. So what's x not allowed to equal? What would this one be? You can do that in your head. What would make this one be 0? Negative 5. Positive 1. 0. And that one's a little bit harder. 3 halves. Okay, so finding my domain from all these, and now I get to have the fun of crossing junk out. So I have an x minus 1 and an x minus 1. It's multiplication, so it's all good. I have a 2x minus 3 and a 2x minus 3. Sorry, this marker just stinks. And then I think that's it. Right? Oh no, x and x. All right, so I crossed all the things out. My final answer, and you can leave it in factored form, would be that. So it really is all about factoring. There's one other type of problem, which is adding and subtracting rational expressions that we didn't have time to get to today. We'll do that first thing tomorrow, and I promise to still give you a major chunk of work time. Your homework is posted on the board. It's not on Classroom yet. I will do that right now. And you're out of here in about 3 minutes, I think. Phew. So if you are struggling with factoring, practice. You can only get better at it with practice. So